My name's Harold Varmus, and currently I'm the director of the National Cancer Institute. Initially it probably wasn't so much inspiration as just deep curiosity about what, we did our first work, the work that was singled out with the Nobel Prize in 1989, work that was not recognized as being Nobel Prize worthy when we reported it in 75 and 76, was to say to everybody, I got to look at the virus I'm working on and find out what cellular gene was pirated to make this virus cancer-causing. So everybody who was working with a retrovirus that caused cancer went back to figure that out. And what became really apparent is there were 20 or 30 such genes, and even though we were still just then entering the era of molecular cloning, it wasn't a simple thing to do, everybody had the same idea. Get this gene in pure form, clone it, learn more about it, find out what kind of protein it makes, how does it work, what happens when it gets mutated, is it mutated in a human cancer? And that was what, definitely there was a blizzard of responses over the next several years. It's funny, when you live through it, it seemed like it happened fairly slowly. Look back and you see that there was a dramatic intensification of interest in these questions. And by 1980 or 82, there were meetings held on this topic. Something that began with just a few of us, ended up being consuming to the field of cancer research. The other thing that was very important to me, maybe two things, but one thing in particular, was my awakening near the end of my term to the power of the internet to change the way scientists present their findings to their colleagues. So a major part of my life since in the last year of my time at the NIH and my life since then has been devoted to developing ways for the public to have greater access to the work that is published by NIH-supported scientists through a digital library called PubMed Central, which we created just before I left, and to the idea that we could actually change the way the publishing business works by having authors pay a fee that takes the place of subscriptions to support the costs of publishing work, that it becomes immediately and fully openly accessible to the public. So open access journals, which I didn't invent, became popular in the field of biomedical research because after I left the NIH, I took some of these ideas with colleagues that had worked with me on the public library, and we built a constellation of open access journals that have been immensely successful. And I feel very strongly that all science should be transformed by this new way of doing it. And one of the, I think, lasting legacies was my complaining that the NIH was too subdivided. It should be simpler, and there should be more powers accorded to the director so that the director can say, here's something that we need to do as one institution, not just as a confederacy of institutes. So the authorization of NIH, which was completed again in 2006, gives maybe 2000, I have to check on that, 2004 maybe, it gives the institute, the head of the NIH, a lot more power to do things through a fund that applies to